When working with complex assemblies, you may sometimes want to simplify your model to cut down on your computer's resources and improve performance, or to hide certain elements of the design before sharing it with others. SolidWorks introduces a new method to do this called Defeature. Defeature is somewhat similar to SpeedPack because it can remove features and components to simplify the assembly. However, by defeaturing an assembly, SolidWorks will actually create a single new file without any feature definition or history. That means that the new dummy part will not have any reference to the eliminated components or features. It will simply have one solid imported feature which represents the features you wish to save. Now, this is a good way to hide elements of your design that you want to keep secret, but this can be very useful when working on large assemblies with a group of other designers. For example, when designing a car, you can create a defeatured part for the engine while maintaining the references to the mounting bracket, which you can easily send to the chassis design team. Defeatured parts are very lightweight, and since there's no feature definition, your defeatured assembly will be safe from inadvertent changes from other design teams. In this example, I'll be working with this fan assembly, which is used as a subassembly in a computer model. To start the defeature process, go to Tools and select Defeature. This brings up the Defeature Property Manager, where we will go through the steps necessary to create the new defeatured part. In the first step, you specify the components that you wish to remove the features from on your model. There are a few options here to help automate the process, such as removing internal components or small components, which are under a certain percentage of the total assembly size. Or you can manually select all of the components you wish to remove by checking this option. However, before you start selecting items, you may want to activate a section view in order to see components that may be hidden. At the bottom of the Property Manager, SolidWorks allows you to quickly activate a section view based off of one of the 3 default reference planes. I can also set an offset distance for the view or change the angle. With the section view set up, I can activate the Select Components window and start selecting the parts to remove. With the components selected, I can use the Display drop-down menu to determine how the model will be displayed, such as Show All Items, hiding the removed components, or only showing the removed components. I'll set this to hide others, so the only components to remove are shown. Then I'll click Update to accept the changes and update my model to visually reflect the changes that I just made to the display type. If there were any components that were incorrectly selected to be removed, I could highlight the exceptions box and select the items to keep. Finally, I'll exit the section view, then click the Next button. The second step is to allow motion in the assembly. To allow the motion, you have to define separate groups of components, which will create a rigid component similar to a subassembly, and motion will be allowed between these subassembly type groups. Since we won't have any motion in this defeatured assembly, we can ignore this step and continue on. In the third step, you select the features to keep, such as mounting holes or reference geometry. If you don't retain these features, they will be filled or removed. Again, SolidWorks offers some options to help automate the process, such as retaining all holes or only holes within a certain size range. You can also select the features with the Features to Keep window active. For simplicity, I'll select to keep all holes. And when I click Next, SolidWorks will begin the process of removing the internal details. I'm then shown a side-by-side preview of the defeatured part and assembly. Notice that I can rotate the assembly, and the preview moves along with it, so I can see the changes that will be made. In this step of the defeature process, I'll select any last unnecessary details to remove. I can either select the items in the graphics window or from the flyout feature manager. I'll select the center hole, and you can see a pop-up menu appears, where I need to tell SolidWorks what level of the selection I want to remove: the face, feature, body, or component. I'll select feature, and you can see it's added to the box. I'll select the corner fillets and remove the feature. Finally, I'll select the additional cutouts, again removing them at the feature level. With the additional features to remove selected, I can press Next, and the preview will update. And finally, I can choose how I want to display my results. I could either save this as a separate part file, publish it to 3D Content Central, or just save it for later use. I'll create a new file and click the green check, give it a new name, and click Save. Notice in the Feature Manager there are no longer any individual features, only an imported body. If I want to make changes to this defeatured assembly, I need to go back to the original file, and you can see there's a defeature item in the Feature Manager. I would need to edit this feature and go back through all the steps while making the changes, and finally, save another separate file. There's no direct way to make the changes in the defeatured model.